Detailer's Roadmap Cruise Control, where we navigate the roadways of life, business, and everything in between. Hey guys, it's Kevin Davis from the Cruise Control Podcast, brought to you by Roadmap. Before we get started, just don't forget to go to detailersroadmap.com, check out what we got, get a demo. We do SEO, we do kick-ass websites. Find us on all the socials as well. Today, I'm super excited to have my friend Jonathan Monson from Dirty to Dreamy. He's content creator extraordinaire, trainer, detailer, business owner, all sorts of things, and a good friend of mine. And I had the pleasure of watching a video the other day of him pulling out his nose hairs, which highly recommend on that. So, Jonathan shares about everything, and it's all for the views on Instagram and Facebook. So, and a little link back to the product on your Amazon page. So that's always a good thing, right? Yeah. Let me give you Jonathan's little quick bio, and then I'll have him fill in the gaps. Jonathan has been working in the automotive industry for over 20 years and has worked everything from repair to detailing. So he's a car guy. I love that. Me too. He has started having fun. He started by having fun sanding cars with his dad at a young age and always loved a clean ride. And his mission to help others achieve, and Dirty to Dreamy is one of the vessels he uses to do that. Jonathan does coaching, he does business planning, he does strategy with people, and genuinely wants to help other business owners do better in their business. So I'm super excited to have him here. He and I are actually, just truth be told, we've been doing some business together as well, which is just super exciting and super helpful for me as well. So Jonathan, welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Glad to.
So, hey, we always ask on the podcast, give me your backstory, your superhero backstory, as we call it. You watch any Marvel movie, DC movie, or whatever, and there's always this backstory on that. And so fill in the gaps and honestly take as long as you want, because I love how it gives context for how people have gotten to where they are. And in my opinion, I think it gives context for the level of success that you're having now based on where you've come from.
Totally. Well, I mean, and there's 3 or 4 backstories. Hitting the bottom of the barrel is one of the backstories, but that can be a story maybe we get into later on. I've been homeless. I mean, my face has been crushed. These things are all motivation to grow and to do the thing for my own. But that's the main backstories. I was in repair for 13 years. I worked from everything from small homeowner shop to big business shops, Firestone, Meineke, Honest One Auto Care, which is a smaller operation. And I finally got fired from the last shop I worked at. And I had worked for over 20 shops. Every shop that I ended up leaving, I left because we ran into integrity issues where the owner wanted to screw over customers to make money or screw over technicians to make money. Especially your big corporate businesses. And I got fired because 2 guys got in an accident on my day off. I wasn't even there. And, I fell apart because I was the best manager in the company. This was Best Tire Center. I don't have a problem saying their name because they went out of business. Interesting factoid. Almost every place that I left went out of business, including the Firestone store that I left. They closed it.
Wow.
So the writing was on the wall, if you get what I'm saying. But I got in an accident. A couple guys got in an accident on my day off, and I was floored because I was supposed to be becoming a district manager. Just got a brand new car so I could drive back and forth to the other 7 stores. I helped them open. I did the layouts for all the alignment machines, all the tire machines, everything to make things efficient. I was recording content. I know, shocker, right? I was recording content.
Right.
We were doing the training videos to teach people how to run the system. And they let me go, and I was just floored. I was in tears, fell apart. I couldn't believe it. Got home and was like, you know what? I'm done with automotive repair. I don't really enjoy it. I know it very well. I can't stand ordering parts. The new cars have just gotten too difficult to work on, and every place I've ever gone to, I've run into integrity issues where people want to screw people over. I think I want to be the better guy. I want to be the guy that doesn't do that, and I think I'm going to clean cars. That's literally what I thought. I think I'll clean cars for a living. I called Andrew and was like, hey, I just got fired. He was in Utah with his family. Andrew's my husband, by the way. He's his family's Mormon, so that's why they're in Utah. The whole family moved to Utah.
That's where they're required to live, right?
Yeah. I don't
Or in
know if
Idaho. I lived in Chubbuck, Idaho, which is south of Idaho Falls, and that's a huge Mormon community too, which is I, I don't know why I brought that up, but that's yeah. So Utah and Idaho is kind of Mormon country, as we called
it's
it.
the truth. It's absolutely the truth. And that's not a dog on them. They're phenomenal people. We wouldn't be where we are if it weren't for them. Man, do I have stories. But he was out there and he was like, wait, what? Weren't you the best manager in the company? Like your store was profiting the most? I'm like, yeah, somebody had an accident on my day off. And let's just say the short story is I'm done. I got fired. So we're going to open a car detailing business. What? Like, I'm going to do it on my own. I'm done. So I had a Bissell, the mean green Bissells that they have at, I believe Lowe's is the one that rents those out. And I had some Tide. And that was it. And I think everybody that follows my stuff knows I know chemicals. I mean, I was studying pH levels when I was a kid because my dad was he purified water for the military.
Mm.
So I actually have I took a picture of it. I have it saved. I had a high school report of me doing a report on pH levels. So I've always been a chemical
Nerd alert, as they say.
100%. So I took Tide out and we did the dog crap details, the bottom of the barrel, $125 inside and out. And I diluted Tide 6 different ways from Sunday just to make the first few cars happen before I bought chemicals and new equipment. And that's how we started.
Wow. Which the great, the irony of that is if you look at most chemicals across, and here's a spoiler alert, is that's how you get most of the chemicals now anyway. Not starting with Tide, but usually some version of a APC or degreaser or whatever. The more water you add to it, the different products that you get to it. So that's awesome.
Can you hear that ringing?
Nope, I cannot.
Okay. I don't know why it's ringing. I'm not a computer guy. Something's ringing.
You're doing fine. Yeah. So that's talk to me about this integrity issue, right? Like, I had a conversation the other day with a guy, and he talked about integrity with ourselves, which is an interesting component. And in this context, it was about fitness and nutrition and some of the things that I do in my other life. But it's about this integrity with yourself. But talk about kind of where that integrity comes from, because they define integrity as what those are the integrity are the decisions and actions that you make when no one is watching.
Yeah.
Right. And so talk to me about that and kind of why you're so passionate about it. And kind of like, those are some big steps when you're just like, all right, this is right and wrong, and I'm going to choose right.
Yeah. Well, 100%. Well, so this will take you to story number 2. My face was crushed when I was 15 years old. So the whole left side of my face, I have 3 titanium plates, 16 screws. I was jumped and sucker punched with a lead lined glove. Stood toe to toe with the guy. That was the only punch he got. I defended myself. At the time, I'd been studying martial arts for 7 years. Thank God. I'm a believer too. I totally believe God saved my life that day. And walked home, called my own ambulance, went through facial reconstructive surgery, and then he followed me for like 2 years. He would randomly show up, even though I had a restraining order against him. I was 15 years old. So at 15, I learned that any day could be your last. And to not live, I was born and raised Baptist, to not live a life of integrity and honesty, you just create all these webs that you have to follow because you're lying about things, and it's exhausting for I've watched people just destroy their lives because they do that. And being that I almost died was like, you know what, I'm just not going to do that. I'd rather live pure and true to myself than be a millionaire or be hugely successful. So at a young age, I figured out that I wanted to be true and do, when nobody's watching, do the thing that I think is the thing of integrity. So that's where it started. Now, fast forward to opening my business. At the age of 30, I really realized that that had caused an anxiety issue. So I ran into several anxiety points in my business. Every detailer has that anxiety before they deliver the car. I hope they like it. Well, multiply that times 500, and that was, fetal position, crying in the bedroom, my kind of anxiety attack. So I started creating systems and operations in my business to make sure that things were full of integrity and done properly. And the reason why I did this is because I saw so much of this in the repair business where they wouldn't. And I am a black and white man. When it comes to integrity and honesty and character, if you cross me, I'm done with you. I
Mm.
move on completely, and I forget you. It's almost like a superpower because of that accident that happened to me. I don't even remember our interactions. Like, you're just gone. It's just
Mm.
wiped out. Because I choose not to remember the bad. I remember the good. And that's why I created those systems and operations, because I ran into it constantly. And it was stupid stuff, like selling people synthetic oil that's not really synthetic. It's just basic oil. And treating staff like they're dumb and they can't read ILSAC ratings on a drum. Like, screw you. You sent me to petroleum school. I have a certification for this, and you sent a drum in that's literally 5W30 basic oil, and you want me to sell it for $60 as synthetic. No. And then cars started coming out requiring that kind of stuff, and now we're doing a disservice to the client. You know, if their
Hmm.
engine blows on a Ford, which we know is going to happen, we'll
Right.
we'll dig there. Um, they're screwed because they didn't use the right type of oil. So running into that over and over again just created this desire to. I just want to run my own thing, and I want it to be full of integrity. And in the scenario where the systems haven't been followed, this will blow detailers' minds. If I look at the system, and you did business with me, and we get to the end of that transaction, and we're just an example. I got a guy right now. He's complaining that pollen is on his car. How come the ceramic coating isn't stopping that from happening? I will take that complaint and I will look at the system and see if the system was followed. If we did not educate that client and let him know he needs to maintain, send him the ebook, give him the handouts, I'll refund his money,
Mm.
because we didn't follow the system to educate the client. He had no idea what he was buying. And that's my level of integrity. And that's why people do business with me. Because I want to be able to go to sleep at night. And that's with almost dying at the age of 15, and that's just one of the times I almost ended the life. Right. I had several other things that has happened in my life that almost took me off this planet. And I want to be able to sleep at night. I want to be able to know that I did the right thing at every point in time, because it allows me to live my life free of the spider webs that lies create.
Yeah, because the more you lie, the more you lie, right? Like it's like it's this. I mean, I've always done my, integrity is super important to me. My wife is like she has got a built-in lie detector anyway. Not that I try to lie to her, but like integrity is the number one thing with her, and to the point where it almost debilitates her, because she will not tell you something unless she is 100% sure that it's the truth. Which is, as a guy, like I'm more of the, if I don't know the answer, I'll make one up and then I'll go find out the answer. So not that I'm lying to you purposely, but I'll give you the best answer that I have, but then caveat it by saying, look, I'm not 100% sure that's true. This is what I think it may be, but let me go find out for sure, and I'll come back to you and make sure the answer is correct. What I think is super interesting about those systems that you're talking about is that really does provide you a black and white roadmap. No pun intended with this show, but that gives you that black and white roadmap in order to follow. And so, like, let's say on this pollen issue, right? Clearly, ceramic coatings are not a force field, despite what some companies have led us to believe over the years. How do you address that on the back end? So let's say you have to, you're like, hey, we missed this. Is that a training issue? Is that a documentation issue? Is it a staffing issue?
It's funny you asked that, because my old district manager, one of the only people that I ever respected working for, was Steve Warner. He now runs Heartland Automotive, which is Jiffy Lube. I know everybody, oh, Jiffy Lube. Jiffy Lube dictates the direction of who's number one in the world for oil. So it's a big deal, and I don't
Yeah.
mean to say that Jiffy Lube's a great place to work, because it wasn't. But when I was talking to Steve, we were talking about training staff. He said, "How do you get them to fall in line? Do you beat them?" Like, because they're it's like military style. And I said, well, it's about systems and operations and just setting expectations. And I'll pick and pick and pick until you do something the right way. I'm not going to fire you over if you're a great employee or a great team member. I'm not going to fire you for something stupid like showing up 5 minutes late every single day, which is annoying for me. But every single day I'll pull you aside and I'll talk to you for 15 minutes and put you behind on your work, and then still expect you to finish it on time.
Right.
So it's a matter of follow up. But we also have systems in place that are automated. So I check those things too, which are like your able, for
Yeah.
example. If I cash you out within an hour, you get an ebook. and that ebook gets sent out through your able, it has a link. I can go into the metadata of your able and see, did that send? And if it did send, we're covered. So because employees are never going to be 100% 100% of the time.
Right.
You'll have somebody come in that's got a fever or sick, but they came in because they need to make the money, which I try to avoid that as much in my business as possible. We offer sick time, vacation time, but people are loyal and they come in and they try to get the job done, and you'll get a poor performance, for lack of a nice term, because that's what it is, and it's because that they're not 100% that day, so they'll miss handing the we have a trifold. That's the same thing. It's exactly what the ebook is, but it's in a trifold. There's a conversation that's supposed to happen at the end of the checkout. Before I ever take your money, I need to tell you what is this? Is it bulletproof? Is it scratch proof? Is it dent proof? All these things that we see in marketing, and if we miss all of that, we still have our automations that go out. There is the rare occasion that you go in and the metadata error shows an error that the ebook never went out or something like that. And in that scenario, it's like, well, all the systems failed. This guy had no idea that the pollen was not just going to flow off of his car. And as stupid as that sounds, you're like, who would think that? Well, look at the marketing for ceramic coatings.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the state of the industry before we started this. Oh man, we could get into it with the state of marketing.
Well, let's get into it. I mean, let's talk about it. Because I think we're in a situation now. Let's just take ceramic coatings, right? Ceramic coatings, I think, peaked, and now we're peaking again with PPF, and all of that's going on right now. I think that the PPF is kind of replacing where we were with ceramic coatings 4 or 5 years ago. Not that they still aren't great business. I'm just saying in terms of like overall paths that people are beginning to take. But the consumers now know about ceramic coatings. When I started Detailer's Helper 12 or 13 years ago, and I was actually detailing at the time full time, we didn't have, like, ceramic coatings were in Asia and maybe a little bit in Europe. Like, no one had ever heard of them. And so when they started, and I can't remember when CP really started to push into the consumer market. CP gets a bad name, right? Ceramic Pro gets a bad name because their marketing tactics, as we can say, were over the top, right? Like, you're hitting the car with a black pipe and hitting them with lighters and setting the hoods on fire and all this kind of stuff. However, so that's not my style. That's not your style. However, the reason consumers know a lot about ceramic coatings now has a lot to do with that kind of education.
Yeah.
But as we begin, like, where are we right now in the state of the industry? And let's just take a business perspective. How, we've got, I'm the old guy. I think I'm even older than you. So I've been in the industry for a long time. And so these younger guys, younger business owners, how they're coming up and running their businesses. I think it's a great conversation just to have the state of the industry, having someone that has your expertise, you're doing trainings and all that. And, we can talk marketing, we can talk business, we can talk whatever.
Well, and just a real quick caveat with comparing our ages here. Thanks. Apparently I'm getting older because that's the first time that's ever happened. But no, I went to a training and somebody actually said when I was at training, and they said this like 10 times, it's always good to have an older detailer in your back pocket because they know a lot of stuff. And I'm like, man, I'm only 40, damn it.
Well, I will tell you this. There is a reason I don't have full facial hair, because I would have the gray like you have in your beard. First, and my wife hates facial hair, but like, I have a lot of gray in my face. So that's one of the things that maybe they're picking up on. It's not age, it's wisdom, right?
I can't wait until it's white because I dress up as Santa every year. Like I just go white already. I don't need the color.
Not this salt and pepper thing.
Yeah, not this crap. Like, I hate indecision. Get it over with. Anyway, so I'll backtrack back into automotive repair for a second here, because this is what I call upon a lot. I trained salesmen. I actually one of the first places I was ever manager of was Jiffy Lube, and we're talking, Valvoline was first, but then Jiffy Lube out in New York. It's a different feel. These Jiffy Lubes do 110, 120 cars a day. They are $3 to $7 million operations. Like it's not what you see on the West Coast. And I created my own position. I saw a need and I said, I'm good at sales. I've already proven that. I had a district manager that said, you can't sell X amount of whatever. And I was like, yeah, watch me. So I ended up selling, we had like 13 fuel system cleaners going in the parking lot at the same time. He walked over and tapped me on the shoulder and was like, stop it. Because there's an average you need to keep. You don't want to sell $400 per car because then you clog up the bays. You can't process the cars. You get pissed off customers. So that he knew I could sell. And we all know sales is just manipulation. Let's just admit it. And we're all good at it because every one of us went to mom after dad said no and still tried to get our way as kids. Embrace it. I created a position as the regional sales trainer and started training the staff versus doing the sales. So I've always had a passion for training. That was back, I was 21, 22, 23 when I worked there. So I have a passion for training. And as you train people in automotive, especially like detailers, that question, how much is it, pisses everybody off. And when I hear somebody go, I can't stand when people ask that question, I know they're an amateur when it comes to sales. Because that question comes from the integrity of the automotive industry. Every one of us, and whenever I pose this question or make this statement, everybody's like, damn, you're right. Every one of us has had a family member or somebody close to us or even ourselves that has gone to an automotive place and gotten screwed over.
Mm-hmm.
They've either been charged too much, charged too little, or somebody said they needed brakes and they didn't, or they needed a brake flush with their brake job or calipers with their brake. Someone has been screwed over that is close to you. So all of us have that feeling of, just tell me how much it is. Because I don't want to go through all the bull crap and invest all this time and then get screwed over. I'd rather just get screwed over and make it short. That's what's happening. So when it comes to sales and the integrity of sales, it's about education. And all these companies that are putting out the marketing out there is just reinstilling the fact that we need to educate our clients. They're doing their job and they're doing it well, and they're driving business to your business. It's your job to go, hey, they're really good at marketing. Let's pause for a second. I'm going to put this ceramic coating on your car, but I don't want to see a video of you slamming a lighter into your hood. That is a demonstration. It's a dramatic demonstration, to say the least. I don't want to see.
That's a marketing tactic. We can call it what it is.
Yeah, and I don't want to see.
And as a marketer, I'm okay with it, but
it's a manipulator.
Yeah.
Which is what marketing and sales are.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you light your car on fire. That's just silly. Don't do that. So it's a need for education, and I think there's a shortcoming in the industry because we don't realize that there's levels. You got Burger King, McDonald's, and then you've got high-end burgers, right? We've got the same thing in our industry. We get all this judgment, and this is two ways. This is the clients versus the detailers, right? And detailers versus the clients. Detailers, they're part of the problem, and so are clients. It's not that people are price shopping. It's just you don't realize that there's a price that person's willing to pay.
Mm-hmm.
There's a value that you need to demonstrate, and they may not fit within what you offer. You may be express detail. You may be production, or maybe you're high end. Maybe you pull the bumpers and lights out of every car and you charge 10 grand for a detail. Do you really want the McDonald's customer?
Nope.
No. So why are you pissing and moaning about them wanting a $150 detail? There's a guy out there that'll do it. He'll do a poor job. There's no reason to judge that. What do you expect for $150? When you go to McDonald's, do you go, damn it, that should have been way better than it was? No, because it was a $2.50 burger, which, it used to be a quarter.
Now it's $8.50, but that's inflation.
Totally. Not corporate greed at all. Let's not go there. I get those comments on my posts all the time that, my prices are just corporate greed. And I'm like, oh man, I wish I was a corporation. We haven't even cracked that $2 million.
I've had better write-offs if I was, I need to talk to my accountant and make sure I have the S corp so I can write it off.
100%. So
but to your point, there is a customer for like whenever I was detailing full-time and just in sales and all that stuff, someone say, well, how much is it? And a lot of times I would just ask, depending on the feel, what are you hoping to spend? What were you looking to spend? And if my interior started at $400 and they want to spend $49, I'm like, well, we really don't offer services at that level necessarily, but let me tell you, here's where we can get you. And then if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
No,
but
That's what we call the power of walking away in sales. It's one of the most powerful things you could ever do in sales. And so many people are afraid to do it because they think they're being a dick. But the
Yeah.
truth of the matter is, if I go, hey, you know what? I'm not even going to give you a price because I don't want to insult you. I'm nowhere near that price. I would recommend going to this place.
Yeah.
As humans, we're mammals. We want to be part of the cool kids club. So if they message me because I have 14 million views a month on social media and they really want to see their car on that social media, they're going to go, well, hang on a minute. I don't need to go somewhere else. I wanted to choose you. Well, I come at a premium price, and this is my price. Okay.
Right.
And it's just the power of walking away because we want to be included in groups. And sometimes that's the strength of your brand, and you can do that. Other times you refer them, they have a great experience, and guess what happens? I had a great experience at some place that Jonathan referred me to.
Mm-hmm.
So when their friend has their Bentley and they want a detail that's done at top premium, they don't recommend the place they went to. They go, well, Jonathan recommended me here, but I would go to him.
Yeah.
So it just turns into more referral business.
And again, it goes back to the integrity piece, right? Like I'm not trying to, my goal and my job as a detail business owner or any business owner is to make sure that the customer's needs are met. And that includes the services I'm provided, but it also includes their budget. And even as a consumer, you know, I deal with a lot of high-end like coaches and all that kind of stuff. And I will literally say, look, I see what you're doing. I'm not sure I can afford you, but I'd love to have a conversation about, you know, what may be possible. And so I go into it as a consumer saying, look, I don't know that I'm a consumer that can afford this level of service. Most consumers don't do that. So because that's where I came from, knowing that not everybody that gives me a call or not everybody who submits a form can afford the services I have to offer. And that's totally okay. Like it's okay for me to say that. And I think if you're honest and have integrity about it, I think the consumers like it, quite honestly.
Yeah. Yep. So it's funny you bring up like high-end coaches and stuff. Our business exploded when I hired Kerwin. And it wasn't like individual one-on-one hire yet. I don't have that kind of money. But I went to one of his Nail It and Scale It events digitally because COVID hit and I didn't get to go to Australia. I'm glad that happened because we ended up with access to all of his events. So now
Wow.
when he does a new one, I still get access to the new events. And he's going over like AI now, Chat GPT, and that kind of stuff. So it's constant learning. There's 700 modules. So
Wow.
I'll never watch them all. But I told Andrew, I said, we're going to do this. But I literally just want to shake the man's hand because I watched a video that he said about taking your power back and everything is your fault. And I tell this story all the time because it's how I developed my maintenance program because it rains out here all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when it rains, people cancel. So this is when we were mobile, we didn't have a shop. So I would have cancellations. We wouldn't make money, couldn't pay bills. So I was like, I'm locking myself in the office. I'm blaming myself for the rain and I'm coming up with a solution. And I came up with a maintenance program. So when it rained, I would sit in my office and sell maintenance plans. So we were more profitable that way than we were going out and doing the work. So the coaching helped a ton and the videos he made up a ton. So I wanted to go to shake his hand. Pure and simple. I learned so much from the digital stuff. And when I called, I said, we're going to go, but I'm going to put this salesman through hell. I'm going to be the guy that's like, let me ask my wife. I'm not sure if I can do that. That's kind of expensive. And just throw all of the things that they'll rebuttal because they teach sales.
Mm-hmm.
And that experience was worth the price that I paid for admission to get everything else because they quantify things. So she basically asked me, what is it that you're trying to learn? She prodded, and I told her, well, I really just want to shake Kerwin's hand. But, I'd love to learn to scale the business. I'd love to learn more about growing. I mean, I kind of know what I want to do, but I just need to reaffirm that the decisions I'm making are correct. Well, what decisions are holding you back? She wouldn't move forward until she got something she could leverage.
Yeah.
I gave her something she could leverage, which put a number on it. So she said, would you say that not having staff, you're struggling to hire the right staff to put in the sales positions? That's holding you back from doing an extra $5,000 per week, which is 20 grand per month, which if you do the math, it's $240,000 per year.
This episode is brought to you by Detailer's Roadmap. Hey, spoiler alert, that's us. We all know you need a kick-ass website in order to be successful with your business. The good news is at Detailer's Roadmap, kick-ass websites, that's kind of what we do. With the latest performance, designs, and SEO strategies, Detailer's Roadmap is your one-stop shop to be successful on the web. And don't forget, we have the best support team in the industry. Whether you're an existing partner looking to improve your lead generation or you need a brand new website, Detailer's Roadmap is here to help you be successful on the web. So go to detailersroadmap.com/success and get started today. That's detailersroadmap.com/SUCCESS.
Yeah, that's about right. And she said, well, it sounds to me like you have a $240,000 problem. It's $250,000, and this program that we have is only $1,700, and it has the solution to your problem. So it sounds to me like an easy purchase. When did you want to attend? And then I started pulling let me ask my husband. Yeah, and she rebutted everything, and then finally it got to the point where she said, I got to be honest with you. I'm not trying to be rude, but you told me you had a problem. You told me you were looking for a fix. I have the fix, and you're not making the decision to take the fix, which tells me you're not serious about fixing the problem. And I was like, damn.
That was good.
You are correct. Sign me up. And I finally caved just because of the experience. I wanted to hear the sales process. And I do that everywhere. I do, like, if you go through to T-Mobile and you buy a new iPhone, if they hit all the key points and they're talking to me and building a relationship, I'll buy everything.
Mm-hmm.
I get yelled at all the time when I go get a new phone because I'll sign up for a new line. And I'll cancel it in 3 months. Andrew's like, why did you sign up for another line? I said, because they nailed their process.
Yeah.
And I wanted to reward them for it. And I got a free tablet out of it too.
Right.
Well, no, you didn't. We're going to pay for that. Well, I'll cancel it in 3 months. And then you forget, and you get 8 months in, and you're like, crap, I paid for that tablet. But it's about experiencing the sales process for me. And I'm looking for integrity every time. And if I get integrity and they build the relationship, I buy just to reward people.
Yeah, I do want to go back. I want to point out something that we're actually like at the basis of what we're talking about is this coaching aspect of it, right? Like you do business coaching, I do business coaching, life coaching, fitness, and all that kind of stuff. And about an hour and a half ago, I got off of a call with a new coach of mine. Like it's coaches need coaching, and pretty much everyone can benefit from some sort of coaching. And we're not here to sell any either of our coaching services, but you need mentors in your life to help you get farther along. Like I had this 45-minute call. This was kind of my first call with this coach, and we're talking about different things, and he's basically just helping pull things out of me, and be able to kind of help me direct myself to get to where I'm trying to be. But during the sales process, he basically said, okay, look, I feel strongly that I can get you to a place where you need to be. Cause I was like, man, this is super expensive. Like, I'm not sure I have the cash flow. We're it's been long winter, cash flow is down and all these different things. And he goes, well, what you give me a number, but I want that number to be something that is affordable, but just barely. Right. And so like that number became something that was something that was a stretch, but like I could do it. And so he was able to solve my problem, but still allowed me to make the choice to push myself beyond what I ordinarily was. Kind of like the $1,700 for you, right? You're like, man, that's still a big chunk of change. I see the value in it, but it's still a stretch. But because you walked me through that, I want to be able to do it.
Well, and the only reason why it's $1,700 was expensive is it was like, well, that's the beginning. Andrew has his, and then I got to fly to Australia, and then I got to go to a hotel. It wasn't the 1,700; it was the whole thing. Right?
Yeah,
and I've always had a coach. I've always had some multiple coaches. Again, born and raised Baptist. There's a verse in the Bible that says, "In a multitude of counselors, there is safety." There's a reason for that, and it's because we make emotional decisions as human beings. We don't realize that we do it, and we were talking about people showing and knowing their numbers before we got on this podcast. And people will send me their stats and say, I do $8,000 a month and 15 transactions. And you're like, well, that's not an average. Averages are never dead even. And if they are, I'll eat my shoes. Like, send me your real numbers. And then you get the real numbers and it's like 6,532 transactions. You're like, well, that's a lot more transactions. You're working your butt off. And that wasn't even close to the number you gave me. So I kind of lost where I was going. Talking about him. What were we talking about?
Knowing your numbers. We were talking about coaches, basically getting a coach, getting sales training.
So I've always had a coach, ADD. I've always had a coach because they keep you accountable. And I wanted to talk real briefly about I just watched a movie on Netflix called The Circle, I think is what it's called. And it's with Tom Hanks, and it's a digital company that does cameras, right?
Okay.
They start doing these little tiny small cameras and putting them all over the world to where you can just log into them online as a consumer and just see what's going on. And that eventually gets to the point where one of the employees puts a camera on herself and it's on all the time except when she goes to sleep. And the idea was somebody being watched will be a good person. It's a weird movie because you're like, they're not wrong. I don't want a camera on me all the time though.
Yeah.
And the funniest part about like watching this movie, seeing like the accountability aspect of recording yourself. I mean, this is why I record myself doing a detail. Not to plug, but if you record yourself doing a detail with a cart versus a detail or helper belt, you'll notice that you do it faster.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. You can watch that video on my Detailers Helper Facebook page, by the way.
If you record yourself, you hold yourself accountable. You look and record yourself with a different phone or a different device, so you've got your phone. Because that's where most people make the mistake. They start texting people, talking, playing on social media, and you'll take a 20-minute job and make it 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it's the accountability of the recording. And I was like, that's a really interesting concept because it's like having a digital coach. Shortly after that, we finally installed cameras in our cars because Andrew's car had gotten hit. And it was when he was in a location. So he wasn't in the car. He came back out, his mirror was gone, and he had a stripe down the side of his car. Had to repaint the whole half of the car, brand new car.
Wow.
So we put cameras in there, and I'm driving. I'm going to reveal something about myself. This is why I did the nose hair pulling thing, right? So as I'm driving into work every morning, the nose hairs tickle me, right? So the nose hairs tickle the beard, and I'm doing this all the time. So I'll shove my finger up my nose and reorganize stuff and get things in order. And then I'll literally pull the hairs with my fingers while I'm driving. And it's not something that I want people seeing. So whenever I do it, I'm like, gosh, I got to make sure I'm on a road. Well, I got 10. So people aren't going to see me with the 10. Make sure there's not too much traffic or we're going slow enough, because they'll think I'm picking my nose. I put this camera in my car. Guess how much I do that now?
At none.
None. Because if I die and they go over the recording and be like, man, he was picking his nose the entire ride. So I got the nose strips to rip the hairs out. And not to plug the nose strips, but if you go to my page, there's a link, and they work fantastic.
I'm going to order some myself. I actually have them in my wish list to add them next time. So, oh man, that's funny. Yeah. I mean, and so like I have collaborative deals that I do with other fitness guys and fitness coaches and all that. And so like that, for me, that accountability aspect of it is the number one thing. Like fitness wise, I have a degree in exercise physiology. Like I know what to do, but my inner fat kid is really hungry at 2 a.m. But I know that if I have to record what that inner fat kid ate at 2 a.m. and show it to Zach the next morning, I'm gonna not eat it, right? Like I'm gonna stick with the plan that he's given me. And so that accountability. But what you're pointing out is what we've been talking about. I've been talking about this forever. Recording yourself gives yourself accountability to yourself. Right. And employee, you can record your employees with their permission. There's this whole weird law thing that you got to navigate a little bit. But when you record and you can see where the inefficiencies are, maybe you're using too much. Maybe you're using too much product. Maybe you're using too many products in order to achieve your job. Maybe you're opening the wrong doors in the wrong order, or putting the mats too far away, or using a cart versus, something else or whatever, but having that recording is a great accountability piece in order to show you what you could improve on.
Yep. It's the recording is like a coach, which I'll trail this into how did I get started with social media? I did live videos it was 2017. And there was a challenge out there to do a live video every day for 365 days.
Wow.
I did live videos. I started doing them several times a day, on location, every job we were at mobile. And then at random, people wanted to, I started with my hands because I'm the anti-government guy that doesn't want his face all over the place. So it started with my hands, and the reason why I ended up putting my face on a video finally was because everybody was commenting, "We want to see who you are," and it makes sense. It's credibility for the business. So I had a conversation with Andrew. Like, "Are we doing this? Because if we do this, there's no turning back. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it full bore." So I did, and then people started asking about me. What are your likes? What are your hobbies? That kind of stuff. And it's weird because you're getting a stain out of a carpet, and the comment on that video is, "What do you enjoy to do on your off time?" And you're like,
well, not this. I can tell you right now.
"This is a dating site? Like, do you like long walks on the beach?" And so I finally did a video on what had happened to me, and how it changed my life. Having your face crushed at the age of 15 is a pretty dramatic thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 40 now, so it's long past, but it does define me. It is the defining moment in my life, and all of us have one of those. And sometimes they change when you go through another hardship. But I can tell you factually that the two defining moments in my life were that one and being homeless.
Mm.
And I shared that defining moment, and it was the first time I ever talked about it publicly. So babbling fool, just crying, and because I was coming to a realization as I was doing the live video, and it's live.
Yeah.
You don't get to stop, like, you do your thing. So I just got the story out there, and it went like what I call local viral.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, interesting. And all of the support within that video was positive. There was a few people that were like, "Quit crying, get over it." But for the most part, and they're not wrong.
Yeah.
For the most part, 90% of the people was supporting me. And I was like, well, pause, wait a minute. I can live my life out loud with a ton of integrity, and to the point where I share it so much that if you don't want to do business with me, you're rejecting truth and goodness, which makes it easy to be like, okay, that's cool, and walk away from sales and walk away from doing business with the wrong person. Shortly after that live video, I ended up speaking at an event with Rennie Doyle. So I went out with the IGL and Rennie Doyle event, and I did it publicly. It's the first time I ever shared the short story standing in front of other people. And by doing that, of course, I broke down again because the intensity of being in front of some of the greatest people in the industry.
Oh, yeah.
And then also sharing a story that you're like, I could get judged by every one of these people. Everyone in the room was crying. Rennie Doyle was in tears. Joel LaPalm was in tears. We ended up hugging it out. We all had a great time. And then they invited me to the Air Force One event. So it was like, wait a minute, my hardship and living out loud is helping me grow as a person and the business, but as a person. So that's where the social media started. And I continue to do live videos. And now, I mean, my mission, and it's always been this, after 2018, we decided we want the company to touch lives through detail. So if we find out you have cancer at any point in time during the service, or that you had cancer and that you just recovered, you're not paying. If your car was stolen and recovered, we're doing your car for free. If you're going through a rough time and it's visible and we can tell, because we get to know our clients, we ask questions, we're not charging you. And we do this all the time. I don't post about it all the time, but we do our best to go above and beyond to touch lives through detail. And that heads into the mentoring aspect too. If I can't help you, I don't want to coach you. But it's my goal to impact your life and to change your perspective on things, because every perspective that holds you back is just one shift away from being the right perspective. And that's how social media got started. I mean, it was literally sharing my story and helping others and posting about it. And that was my coaching. It was my accountability. Put yourself live while you're doing a detail. Tell me how many times you'll not do the right thing.
Right.
Do the right thing every time. You drop a micro while you're live, it just becomes an education point.
Yeah.
You'll pick up that micro and go, this is no longer a micro that I can use on the interior of the car. Unfortunately, I have a system. Blue is exterior, yellow is interior. This is a trash micro. I'm going to put it in a bag and I'm going to donate it to a food bank, or I'm going to donate it to a humane society, or I'm going to throw it in the trash because I don't want to scratch your paint.
Yeah.
And that's what built the credibility for the business, was doing stuff like that live. And then, of course, I got comfortable on camera because you made mistake after mistake after mistake. And then you just point out, hey, this was a mistake, that was a mistake, this was a mistake. Integrity. Yeah. And now I can do shorts in 30 seconds, 60 seconds is just knocked out of the park.
Yeah, you get used to it, right? Like, you have to kind of get used to seeing your face. You have to get used to talking on the fly and kind of making up things. And, it's like, it's funny because like, I've done, like you, thousands of videos over the years, and tons of toxic cameras and all that kind of stuff. And I got sick of looking at my own face, but and I built a marketing campaign on Detailer's Helper around selfies, which I do not recommend. Because you got at SEMA 2016, I think we took 700 plus selfies with different people.
That's insane.
Because we had a contest about it, and it was crazy. But all that to say, how can someone how can the average detail business use social media in the way that you're describing? And we'll just talk about this authenticity piece, the live piece, because obviously it's a huge topic we could spend 3 hours talking about. But kind of give us a little bit of advice on how they can use that ideology and that methodology that you're just talking about in order to, serve their customers, get new customers, serve the community at large and the industry.
So the first step is being okay with you. And that sounds, well, that's not going to help my business. Yeah, it will. Because there's not one person in this planet that's exactly like you. They may look like you, but they're not exactly like you. I have quirks and weird things about me that I share, like the nose thing.
Right.
Be so open and honest to say, yeah, I shove my finger in my nose while I'm driving to work. Like, I think there are people out there that are going to go, I do that too.
Right.
And then they connect with me. They'll never admit it online, but that's the reason they follow. Now that sounds stupid, but yeah, if you admit you pick your nose, people are going to follow you because they're like, yeah, so do I. This guy's so like genuine and honest. So you got to be okay with you, because you got to show you if you really want to impact your community. And it's to the point that you got to understand you're going to get questioned.
Mm-hmm.
When we do food drives, we had a food drive that we did. No, this was an event that we did. I won't name names, but it was a car wash event. And this guy shows up to the car wash. He had purchased a package for our prior charity event, and he never used it. I showed up to his house twice. It was a $500 package. We were going to do an inside and out polish, all that, way underpriced ourselves because it was a charity donation.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed up several times, and all of his equipment was still in the truck. And we're talking like equipment, like stacked to the top of the truck. He has to take it out, takes him an hour and a half to pull all of it out. And both times it was like, I can't sit here and wait for you to pull all your stuff out. Not to mention that the truck is not in good condition because all your crap's still in it. You need to take it out. You need to at least do a quick vacuum on it. I mean, this is a charity detail. So he showed up at this next event. It was a concrete truck. We started doing the interior detail, and it's all concrete dust. So any water was creating a slurry of issue.
Oh.
I told the guys, I said, man, it's a $55 deal because he paid for another donation, because we talked about how dirty his truck was. Get it done in 45 minutes, do what you can, and then move it on. He posts on the page in Maple Valley pictures of the after of the detail. Doesn't say he went to an event that raised money for the community or for somebody in the community, and just tries to destroy my company. And of course, what happens in the comments? People love negativity, so the starting of the comments caused my heart to sink. Like, is my company over? Is this about to end? And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get involved. I'm going to put one comment this is not what happened. This was a charity event, and this was a 45-minute detail, and your truck needs a much more extensive detail. I'm going to leave it at that. Y'all can take it for what it's worth. After that, they destroyed him. They went after him with fire and picks, and I was able to go, okay, we're good. So you've got to be so okay with it yourself that when in those moments, you don't make the wrong move.
Mm-hmm.
I say that as the beginning piece, because you're going to get online, you're going to do a live video, you're going to make a mistake, and people are going to make fun of you. People are going to lash out at you. People that can't afford your services are going to tell you that you're ripping people off. They're going to question your integrity over and over and over again. So if you don't like that, don't do videos and don't do social media. Do picture posts, do advertisements or network marketing. Just steer clear of it. If you're okay with that and you're solid with yourself, just start posting.
Mm-hmm.
Start posting something. Post videos. It doesn't even have to be like, just an example. I'm meeting with guy's name is Roger, and he runs a construction business. He thinks Google is the devil. So he doesn't have a Google listing, and I love him to death because I understand he's a former police officer. He was on the bomb squad. His wife's a firefighter. Like, they are good people.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand what what he's talking about. You know, they're listening to us all the time. Like, let's get this away from here because we're about to talk about guns, kind of a thing. So I get his mindset, but there's a business they want to start to help supplement because he doesn't do advertisement and isn't always busy, and they're getting a engraving machine. And I was like, dude, I got you. We don't have to use the all powerful Google evil machine. We do the Instagrams and we make a video and it's just you making something. A minute and a half, 2 minutes, whatever. In the background, you tell the stories of your heroism. You know, he's every time we go to dinner, he's got a story about a body he pulled out of the ocean, or you know, he found somebody dead in a hot tub, or disarmed a bomb that was by a building, and it's like it's breathtaking. It's like, tell me more.
Yeah.
They're things I would never get involved in, and they're good stories. So by telling the story in the background of what you're doing, it's going to travel because people will watch it for two reasons. They'll watch it because watching somebody laser engrave something is pretty darn cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I get to hear a cop story too. That's pretty nifty.
Yeah.
About how he disarmed a bomb or whatever. So you don't have to do traditional content. Show your quirks, show who you are, tell stories about your life, and see what sticks. You heard the saying, throw the crap up against the wall until you see what sticks.
Yeah.
Find something that's unique about you, and people will latch onto that and then just continue to post that.
Yeah, because it's, you know, I always think of detailing a little bit like real estate, right? Because real estate agents, they're buying the relationship with you at the end of the day. And if you're a production detailer, that's your kind of shop, then it's less about the relationship, but that's still important. But if you're doing especially higher end detailing or mid to high level detailing, those people are coming to you because they trust you with, you know, what now is, I mean, dude, a Denali now is $115,000. Like, you know, I mean, well, my 2007 has 285,000 miles on it, and it's still awesome.
and it had 12 mils of paint from the factory.
That's true, and no orange peel, unlike the brand new ones that are completely orange peeled out. But it's a total relationship, right? And so if you keep that in mind, that your goal is to develop relationships, whether it's through the sales process, the call process, the you know, purchasing process and billing and all of those things, and you translate that into social media and what you're posting, that gives you an opportunity to be yourself. I'm in, you know, one of my other businesses, I'm in an industry that is very saturated. There's a ton of us, but I'm going to fill a specific niche for the people that identify with me, resonate with me. They like my speaking cadence. They like my attitude. They like my face, whatever it is, but I'm not going to resonate with other people. And so I have to be able to put that out in front of people so that they get to know me and build that relationship. And I think you can disagree with me, but I think that that's the same thing with social media. If you're giving that authentic self, people will identify and want to do business with you in that way.
And you can build your platforms off of custom edited videos and pay somebody to do all this fancy stuff. That builds slower.
Mm-hmm.
I've trained hundreds of people at this point how to post, how to put things online, how to put yourself out there. And even the boot camp that I just started recently, we're 4 weeks in, and I've got a real estate agent that's in that boot camp. And it's just small tweaks to his videos. And he's getting more videos in a day or two than he used to get in a month.
Mm.
And it's because I said, bro, I can tell you've been to classes because you're trying to get the 3 top trending hashtags and put the SEO title and the SEO title link to the SEO title in the video that you're doing. You're kind of like, stop it. That is not fun.
Yeah.
Have fun. Go make a video that makes you go, that was fun.
Yeah.
And then do that again, and then do that again. And you, when you giggle and when you laugh, I mean, laughter an emotion is a form of acceptance. Like, we're comfortable with each other to the point where I can laugh with you.
Right.
Anger is another one. If I can be angry and show you that I'm angry about something, there's a level of comfortable, or I'm just an asshole. There's that option too. But,
or a little bit of both with some of us, like myself.
Right. But to be comfortable with those emotions and share them, people will connect to those emotions. And you're not doing that by going, I need to get the 3 top training hashtags and make sure I do the thing because it's just not authentic.
Yeah.
And that's what's carrying it. The day and age of shorts and 7-second videos, 15-second videos. Of course, we've got a short attention span out there, but if you can get unique within 15 seconds, which is really easy with a lot of quirks we have as human beings,
Yeah.
you can get unique pretty quick and share something that no one else would share. Show your underbelly and be comfortable with it, and you will connect with so many people. But then, in so doing, realize that you just showed your underbelly, and if anybody isn't okay with that, those aren't your people.
Right. Yeah.
So you've done 2 things. You've segmented the market very quickly. These are my people. These are not my people. And you've garnered a following that supports you for who you are. It's a beautiful thing, really. I have a love-hate relationship with social media because it does affect some people's lives that don't control it. But at the same time, it brings so much realism to my life because of how I treat it. It's a tool to me. It's an accountability tool. And I try to stay who I am. I get it all the time. They meet me in person, like, dude, you're the same thing in person that you were on these videos. You're just a dorky, fun guy.
Which is a great compliment to you, right? Like that's and what people are now beginning to realize, and I actually am been learning this more myself, is this whole user generated content aspect of things versus polished content is much more desirable, and now people trust it more. They don't trust, I can do a sales video for a particular product, get it really, polished and all that kind of stuff, or I can have someone do a video saying, hey, this is the impact that this product had on my life or my business. The one that is just selfie shot, somebody talking about it, will have way more trust than the one that I put together. And so being authentic is definitely number one thing. And just like you said, be yourself. I make the comment often, I don't really like people, but I like my people.
Yeah.
And and your comment about separating those, and you want to do business with your people. Like doing business with people you don't like sucks.
It's terrible.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be fun, right? Like you could make 8 figures as a business if you wanted to, but if you hate everybody you do business with, it's totally not worth it. I'd rather make 6 figures with people that I have fun with.
I worked at Walmart. It's not fun. I'm good. That was one of my first jobs. 4 years at Walmart. Great stock options. Horrible job. Because they cater to everyone.
Yeah.
That's not small business. Small business, like if you're thinking big business and you want to open a business like that, just stay disconnected from it.
Yeah.
Don't make it Monson's Auto Detail.
Nope.
Just stay disconnected from it. But if you want to truly love and live your passion and make money doing it and attract the people you want to do business with, which this plays into leadership too. When you think about it, and we're dealing with this with our staff and with friends and family. I'm very much out and open. Like I'm outspoken about things, and there are things that I will accept and things that I won't accept. And I'm respectable about it, but there's certain things I'll say, hey, if you can't fix this, then I want to hang out with you less.
Yeah.
In the kindest way possible. And it's like our leadership team. And I ran into this running. I've run 20, 30 teams in my life. The teams at Jiffy Lube were the biggest. So 30 plus people running that Jiffy Lube that's doing 3 to 7 million a year. And you have people that are your management leadership that are like, I don't want to correct them because I don't want to make them think I hate them, or I don't want to correct them because I don't want to make them uncomfortable. They're my friend outside of work and I don't want to ruin my friendship. What friendship do you have that a person will come in and as your friend will make your job harder?
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. Pause and go, this is my friend. He makes my life miserable. Cut it down to the nuts and bolts of it. You spend 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's 40 hours that person makes your life difficult. And they're your best friend.
Yeah. They're not.
You need to pick new friends.
Yeah. Definitely.
Pause for a second. Let's have a conversation. Do you respect me? Yes, I respect you. Do I correct you when you're wrong? Yes, I do. Do you appreciate that? Yes, I do. Do you get better at things? Yes, I do. Do you value our relationship? Absolutely. Do we hang out outside of work? Yes. Would you consider me a friend despite the fact I own the company, I'm your boss? Absolutely. Do the same thing with those people.
Yeah.
It's a leadership thing. I don't know. It drives me bonkers because so many people accept just mediocrity. Like, be yourself, and there's so many ways to make money. We're talking about videos, right? And I think your wife does this. The Amazon affiliate links.
Yep.
We talk about authentic videos and putting stuff online instead of allowing everyone else to market to us. Go to Google and search Amazon affiliate. And when you buy something off Amazon, every time you buy it, make a video. Share it with your friends on Facebook. Maybe you only have 200 of those people. Those people value your opinion more so than an ad will ever be valuable to them. And post a video saying, hey, I bought this. It's kind of cool. I like it. Here's a link. If you buy from that link, I make like 30 cents.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then every time they shop on Amazon going through your links, you'll make money.
Yeah.
And now
it's a little bit here, a little bit there, but it can be. And what's funny is that all it's a big complicated thing a little bit on the video thing, but like the ones that she shoots outperform other ones that are more polished because of that user generated content feel. It just works really well. Hey, I know we're running out of time. I did want to give you an opportunity. One last big piece of advice for the people that are listening to kind of push them forward. And I want you to tell me how we can find more about you and find you and get in contact with you.
So email me anytime, Jonathan@dirty2dreamy.com. And I've said that a million times. It's dirty the number 2. So if you type TO, you won't be able to get me. And Jonathan is JONATHAN, not ON. And even if you just have questions about life, you just need somebody to chat with, like, feel free to email me anytime. I literally live the mission. I touch lives through detail. If I were to give you one piece of advice, that's a hard one. We talked about a lot. Study leadership. If I were to give you one piece of advice, study leadership. It'll give you the accountability piece we're talking about, and which I think was the theme of our podcast here.
Mm-hmm.
Being accountable in your own life and being a leader, and that's not necessarily say, hey, I want to lead thousands of people, but lead your own life. Be in charge of you, and be okay with you and who you are, and grow that person on a daily basis, and you'll find success everywhere. Sales will start to happen. You'll start to hold yourself accountable to your wants, your needs, your goals. And one of the greatest writers when it comes to leadership is John C. Maxwell.
Mm-hmm.
He has
100%.
2 books, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and then the 17 Indispensable Laws of Building a Team. 2 phenomenal books. And of course, he has 10, 15 others that are the same mantra. But study leadership, get good at leadership, and take control of your life.
Well, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you're doing in the industry. And for me personally, I love our new connection and our burgeoning friendship. It's been a lot of fun. We get together and have a good time. So thanks a lot for coming. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
You too, my friend. It was a pleasure.
Head over to detailersroadmap.com and get your one-stop success solution today.